great race fans here. They've been waiting for this race, big autograph session this afternoon. Now they want to see the superstars do it on the dirt. Here we go, green flag for heat race number 1 at Knoxville. Stewart in the orange and Andretti in the black on the front row through turn 2.
Oh, you can see that. You can see how the cars pick up that berm. They're looking for grip, looking for turn. It's funny when you hear drivers that race on dirt talk to you, even in pavement racing. Like Tony Stewart has talked to me about this many times over the years. They use such different terminology. I think they're maybe get in the mud. I think that's what Tony would say getting down to the bottom. Get in the mud.
Marco Andretti, that was at the drop of the green flag. He was sideways and trying to keep it off the guard. And head downstairs to the pit lane in Knoxville and introduce Big Brad Daugherty.
Thanks, AB. We're talking a little bit tonight about the crew chiefs. We've got 4 legendary crew chiefs.
So Deegan running second behind Stewart there. Tony in the orange car, Deegan in the magenta colored machine. Back around 5th place, got a big knot of cars. There's Brian Brown, the local track hero in the red, white, and blue car. Bill Elliott behind him. Then Paul Tracy, who moved up from 11th on the grid. And remember, your starting order for Heat 2, the invert of the finish of this one, and your average of the 2 is going to be where you start the main event. So Paul's got a lot to gain by going forward in this heat.
And he has. He said he was going to follow Bloomquist, but Bloomquist is way behind him. But what I'm seeing is Brian Brown, who, you know, you'd think would be pushing his way through. They're stacked up behind him. I think all the cars are quicker. Bill Elliott's been on his tail the whole time, really pushing him. And now Paul Tracy, you know, Paul can push it. Paul is a driver that tends to err on the side of overdrive, I might say. So I think they get to change the rear tires for the feature, but you know, he's using them up right now. So I say go for it. You know?
In a car that he wasn't as familiar with, this car might as well be from another planet for Brian Brown compared to the sprint car that he runs here on a weekly basis. We'll show you more about that a little bit later. On board here with Paul Tracy, moving forward in the green car, the lime green machine.
So much work on the wheel. Yeah, I'd say Smokey's got a lot of dirt experience. Hailie does too. I mean, Hailie's been on the dirt. She's slid cars around quite a bit, but there's not quite like as much as Tony has done. So you can see that Tony's running that higher line. He's trying to make her go the long way around, and that's a smart thing to do. Another thing that happens up on the top is that you keep momentum up. So you can see that when you come off the corner, off of 2 and off of 4, there's a little bit of a pulls her just a little bit down the straightaways. She's taking the shorter line in the corners, but he has momentum coming off. Hailie's really putting pressure on Tony. What do you think? Think she's going to get him?
Not this time.
Not this time.
No, just a little too. She slipped just a little bit there off the bottom of 4.
You can see she's using up her right rear for sure, but I think I think the 12 minutes might run out.
And just a peek. All right, Stewart and Deegan racing for the lead. Night, yellow flag out in heat race number 1 here at Knoxville Raceway in Iowa. So Paul Tracy, we talked about him doing so well earlier. He's bounced it off the wall a couple of times.
Oh, is he pushing it too much out there?
That is what brought out the yellow flag.
You know, he could have just gotten that right rear hot. I mean, that's you know, this is one of those things that happens when you slide around too much.
All right, so we're getting ready to go here. You see the clock down to 2 minutes to go in this heat race number 1. Stewart orange inside, Deegan magenta outside, green flag.
Marco's looking all right on these restarts. I wonder if the car starts off being strong and then maybe perhaps gets too tight or gets too loose on him. But at the beginning of the race, he looked pretty good. And here he is passing Hailie for second. So we'll see if he's got something for Tony.
Marco Andretti, one of those guys in the field that has basically no experience racing dirt other than jumping in a friend's dirt racing car, a midget-type car, if you're familiar with auto racing terminology, getting a few laps on a racetrack in Pennsylvania, that's it. So Andretti managed to shut the door on Deegan for second. It's Ernie Francis in the yellow car third, then Paul Tracy all the way from 11th up to 5th, despite those 2 times bouncing off the guardrail. There's a little jam up in 2. Andretti slipped, and the traffic bunched up behind him.
I think as you see Paul get free of Brown finally, he's in 5th now. I think he's gonna make a run here at 4th, and we'll see if he has enough time to get by Francis Jr. But I think he was really strong when he was running back there behind Brown. So
here goes Marco Andretti inside of Tony Stewart for the race lead. He nudged him off of turn number 2 to make a little lane for himself. Tony with that top lane run to hang on. And the white flag is out. We're in the last lap of heat number 1. Stewart orange, Andretti black. Here comes Deegan in the magenta car.
Hang on to her, Marco.
Yeah, not going to be enough to catch Tony Stewart. So, checkered flag in heat number 1 tonight. Oh, spin off turn 4.
Kept it off the wall.
Into the outside. Kept it off the wall. Yeah, Michael Waltrip got a little nudge from behind and spun it around.
Ooh.
Is that Helio?
Brown.
Brian Brown, okay.
Perfect little pirouette. No crash damage.
Tony Stewart started on pole, led all the laps, but it wasn't easy. Pressured a good deal of the way, and our Wheels Up Heat Race 1 winner, Tony Stewart, will invert the field and set him up for heat number 2 next. First, the green flag is out for heat number 2. One in the wall right away. Paul Tracy bounced it off turn 4.
Saw that coming down the front straightaway. You can always leave it up to Paul Tracy to push it, though. Love watching. It's fun to watch.
Hard charging has never been something he's been afraid of.
No.
Michael Waltrip up out of the bottom line. Coming through underneath him for the race lead is Helio Castroneves.
You know, I find it super impressive how adaptable Helio is in all these conditions with a different car, now on dirt. I mean, and he just won his 4th Indy 500. He's truly talented.
That is so much fun. And you can picture Helio saying that. Here's the green flag on the second heat.
That's the same spot that he caught the wall in the first heat.
What's that telling you? He's gassing it up hard.
He's looking at the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure he's giving it all he can. I mean, it's a start.
So really interesting racing back in the field behind the front 3. Castroneves, Scott Bloomquist, and Michael Waltrip, because Paul Tracy's in the 4th spot. Tony Stewart tried to pass him twice on the outside, and Tracy said no. Now here's that fight. Tony in the orange car, Paul Tracy in the lime green machine, Brian Brown in the patriotic machine, still tussling there to the inside. And this is 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Then you've got Hailie Deegan right there behind Tony on the outside. Those are the dirt racers. They know where to go to find some grip and find a place to pass them. That's another thing that dirt racers are so creative at, is just how to get by somebody. One thing that I've yet to see, though, is the slide job. I am looking for the slide jobs here tonight, which we'll talk about probably more as we go along, but that's such a technique.
Paul Tracy said no when Tony Stewart tried to pass him on the outside. Here's how he said it.
Oh, that was Tony.
Yeah, that was Tony.
Tony won't forget.
Oh, no. So Ernie Francis in the yellow car, Brian Brown, the local hero, who has never raced something with fenders on it before, learning their usefulness.
It's kind of fun to have fenders, I must say.
You've experienced that journey.
That was, when my first stock car race, I remember it was down in Daytona, and I just was able to bump side by side, and I had a ball. I thought it was the coolest thing. That's really dangerous in an open wheel car because you can climb wheels. So stock cars, what's it saying? Robbins Racing.
Yeah. Helio Castroneves leading heat number 2 as we come to the midway point, and the caution flag will wave in our second heat race. Castroneves with the ringer Scott Bloomquist behind him, and Michael Waltrip running third as we hit the yellow flag. Tonight, Helio Castroneves is the leader. Scott Bloomquist, winner of over 600 dirt late model races, to his outside in the gold car, green flag.
Helio got on the throttle, a little sideways on the start, allowed Bloomquist to get by him, and now PT. He's come from the back like a champ.
And defending spots now up front to help his starting position for the main event. One of the changes made to the format for this week. Starting position for the main event is based on the average finish in the 2 heat races. Scott Bloomquist lit it up and went in that gold car on the restart.
Did PT get the wall again on the front straightaway? Possibly.
How about 3 wide for third place? Oh, there's Tracy up in the marbles. That's going to cost him. Now, Paul had a tough night at Stafford a week ago when his car got damaged early on, and he kind of soldiered around the rest of the evening. Just lost a bunch of positions there.
That's frustrating. These are well-earned positions when you get by cars out here. Since everybody's running on the bottom, there's really none of these slide jobs happening that I was alluding to. So, you know, to be up there at the front, be running and vying for second place from starting in the back, you know, it's pretty frustrating to lose. What did he lose? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots.
Yeah.
So he was probably going to be pretty close to having a front row start.
Yep, was going to be. Being the operative term, past tense. So Bloomquist leads, Castroneves second, Francis is third, Michael Waltrip is fourth, being challenged there by Hailie Deegan for fifth. This the knot a little back.
Little 2 ribs on the inside.
That's a cool view.
Just shows how much the cars move around. Very, very busy inside the cockpit on dirt tracks especially. Oh, spin out of 4.
And one into the outside wall. That is Paul Tracy. And the caution flag is out with less than a minute to go in this second heat.
It's getting from bad to worse for PT out here.
Yeah. Now the question is, how much is the damage to that?
That's pretty bad. The right front bodywork is hiked up pretty bad. It looks like it might be pretty close to cutting into that right front tire too. They're going to have to pull it out. Might even have to cut some of it. What happened here? Just spun.
Gassed her up off turn 4 and away it went.
He's running up pretty high. The groove is moving up a little bit. There's definitely, you can see it in the second heat, people, you know, making their passes around the outside. So he's just pushing it, getting up a little bit high.
Yeah, well,
I think he gassed it up.
he's not been afraid to gas it up, but I think he's about used up the right side of that car in these 2 heat races. And the SRX crew will have a little work to do to get Paul shaped up for the main event. So, green flag, 2 laps to go.
Looks like he's having a little bit of trouble putting the power down. He got a little sideways in the middle of 1 and 2. Gave just enough room for Helio to get a little run, but he knows what he's doing out here. He's sliding up, making it hard on Helio. And look at that, Francis Jr., he's been strong. He ran pretty well in the first heat too for having very little experience. Ernie Francis Jr. is doing a really good job. Running second now.
Spin behind the pack, log jam for third place. Michael Waltrip through, Castroneves shoved out of the way. Paul Tracy spun behind everything, did a 360, kept going. Here they come to the checkered flag of heat race number 2. Scott Bloomquist from Tennessee is going to take the checkered flag. It'll be Francis in second, Michael Waltrip in third. Tony Stewart edges Hailie Deegan for 4th. Michael Waltrip put the fastest lap in that race in.